So here we are focusing on A, B, C costing. There are dedicated steps. Identify the activity, accumulate the cost pool or calculate the cost. The method, identify their drivers, calculate their number of drivers, then calculate overhead absorption rate for each activity. And then absorb according to the consumption of activity. जिस प्रोडक्ट में जितनी एक्टिविटी कंज्यूम हुई होगी उस हिसाब से ओवरहेड कैलकुलेट किए जाएंगे. I am picking the question number 2. Where we need to compare with absorption and activity-based costing. They run the small manufacturing business with two products, Super and Lexi. So the information is given to us. Let me formulate it. Question number 2. So according to the steps, I formulated the table, or you may say sketch the table. Activity cost pool, they are in dollar form. Drivers, number of drivers, and OAR of the activity. If you see the question number 2, these are the activities which consume these cost. Overheads are cost. Equipment setup, matching cost, machining cost, equipment setup, machining cost, assembly cost. These are the 3 activities. Now, their cost pool. The cost pool is the total overhead or the cost included. That is 50, 90, 60. 50, 90, and 60. Kindly take the total. Kindly take the total. This is total 200,000. Okay, the drivers. Drivers are setup, machine hours, and labor hours. Number of setups, machine hours, and labor hours. The total, I need the total. That is 109,000 and 5,000. 109,000 and 5,000. For OAR, what I need to do, we need to divide cost pool with number of drivers. Calculators, calculate 50,000 divided by 100. The answer is 500 per set up. The next one, 90,000 divided by 9,000. 10 per machine hour. The next one, 60,000 over 5,000. 12 per labor hour. This is how we calculate the OAR. Is it agreed with everyone? Is that agreed? Now the step of absorption. How to absorb? It is to be absorbed according to the products. The products are super and delexi. Super and delexi. So the same is to be taken here. All three the activities. The same activities which are to be consumed. For example, for super, I am picking the blue one. The rate should be 500 per setup. So we have to multiply with number of setup used in super. Similarly, machine hours, 10 per labor machine hours. So we need to multiply it, the hours consumed by each product. For assembly, 12 per labor hour consumed in super and labor hour consumed in delexi. For super, 60, 5,000, 3,000. 60, 5,000 and 3,000. You need to multiply it. Calculators for delexi, the same. All right. Okay, let's see. We must pick 40, 4,000, 2,000. Calculators. Now the game of calculators. Okay. Is that 116? Calculators, kindly do it quickly. If you take the sum of these, it will be equals to 200,000. Is it okay? This is our ABC costing, how to allocate overheads into products. If we follow the traditional system absorption costing, so we need to calculate 1 OAR. The formula is budgeted overhead divided by budgeted level of activity. Then we must pick total overheads with total labor hour or machine hour. Let me say pick the labor hours. So what was the total labor hours? 5,000. Calculators. And we need to distribute in between super and delexi. For super, 40 into 3,000. And for delexi, 40 into 2,000. Again, the sum is 200,000, right? But the approach is changed and the procedure is changed. ABC says it is the activity which consumes the cost. So we need to calculate activity-based OAR, not the overhead department-based OAR. This is the main difference. If we go for question number 1, this is very interesting question. A product A company produces two products, Rexine and Premier. Both produce large quantities with low price, but the Premier is exclusive and a high price. Premier may be the most complex product. That's why it's heavy. It's high in price. The details are given to us. Lots of requirement according to absorption costing and total cost unit as per absorption costing. Let me pick up the things. Here we are the overheads. The total of overheads are 52,000. Kindly check from your calculators. Production overheads are based on batches. Rexine 100 and that 15. Each fixed overheads do not have any associated specific overhead. It's going to be taken as labor hours. So we need labor hours. How do we get the labor hours? Look here, a unit take 4 hours and 6,000 are the units. Labor hours 4 at the rate of 6,000, 24,000 for Rexine, and for Premier 5 hours at the rate and for 600 units. Rexine and Premier. Agreed, my dears? These are the labor hours which I have calculated. Total overheads 52,000. Now, overhead absorption rate 52,000 divided by 27,000. Calculators. 1.92 per labor hour. If I need to calculate for Rexine, overheads 1.92 into 24,000 and Premier overheads 1.92 into 3,000. Calculators 4680 and if you take the sum, it will equal to 52. Is it agreed? Some change in it. Due to the point. It is 1.92 is the correct answer. Kindly check it. Near about आएगा. अगर आप 3 decimal place लेंगे तो आंसर काफी nearest आ रहा होगा. बस 100-200 का भी नहीं बल्कि 10-15-20 का फर्क आ सकता है. Anyhow, what was the requirement of the question? The question asked you to calculate overhead absorption rate, then total cost per unit. Now for per unit, Rexine overhead per unit should be 46,200 divided by 6,000. Calculators. Premier overhead per unit is 5775 over 600. जी, the answer is ऊपर वाले का and dollar नीचे वाले का dollar 9. They are per unit. Now we need to calculate cost per unit for Zeeshan and Premier. They already given us marginal cost per unit, that is variable cost. We need to add overhead per unit in it. Already question have mentioned you 50 and 70. They are marginal cost per unit. 50 and 70. Whereas overhead is 7.7 and 9.625. Calculators, it becomes 57.7 and 79.625. Is that agreed? This was for absorption costing. Now we are moving for ABC. Let me work out for ABC for the same question. Let me draft the table. These are my 5 columns: drivers, cost pool, activity, cost pool, drivers, number of drivers, and OAR. Let me pick up the drivers. These are the 3 names: machine setup, material handling and inspection, other fixed overhead. The amount 24, 18, 10. Driver is something very interesting in this question. Look at the first paragraph, this one. Focus on it. One batch will produce 6,000. So how many batches? Should be 6,000 over 100 batches. That is 60 batches. Whereas 600 over 15, it is, calculate, 40. Calculator. So this is how we need to calculate the drivers. Driver name is number of batches. The total batches are 100. So try to identify these. Now look at the last sentence. Material component required. Number of components. If 6,000 units needs to produce, we need 10 per unit, right? 60,000 components. For Premiere, we have 600 units and we need 6 components. 3,600. Get it? The component required. This is for material handling. And the last, for other overheads, we need to take labor hours. Already mentioned in the question, जिसका overhead given ना हो base, तो उसका आप labor hour ले लीजिएगा. Labor hour we already calculated 27,000. Now for OAR, 24,000 divided by 100. $240 per batch. The next one, 18,000 divided by 63,600. 18,000 divided by 63,600. Dollar 0.283 per component. And for labor hour, 10,000 over 27,000. Kindly do verify from your calculators. The next step is absorb the overheads or allocate the overheads. In between Rexine and Premiere. Now for allocation, we take all these 3 items again. And their overheads needs to be distributed according to the OAR, right? For example, this is 240 per setup. For both, it should be 240 per setup. And for material handling, 0.823 per component. So the component for Rexine 60,000 and component for Premiere are 3,600. Is that? Can you check it? Setups are 60. Here the setups are 40. Overhead rate 0.370. Labor hours 24 and 3. 24 for Rexine. And 3 for Premier. Calculators, kindly use your calculations. Tell me total overheads. Total overheads of each the product. Here we got the total overheads of each Rexine and Premier. Now we are going for overhead per unit. For overhead per unit, we need to divide them with the number of units. 6,000, number of units 600. So we'll get the overhead per unit. Calculators. Kindly verify from your calculators. Now we need to calculate cost per unit, marginal cost per unit, then overhead per unit. It was already given in the question 50/70. Now at 6.71. Kindly verify this is how we have to do it. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.